right, welcome back. Welcome back. It is your boy, Book Erban, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Erban Topic, where we progress your culture forward with powerful conversation. And this week, for this episode, we are spotlighting Miss Glenda Foster. She is a wife, a mother, a business owner, a business professional, and most of all, a mompreneur. So Miss Foster, how's it going, man? We really say thank you for coming down to our studio today and just being a part of our set in our episode. How are you?
I'm great. I'm just honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, listen, yes, it's really, we're really blessed to have you come on and just grace our platform with your knowledge, with your experiences, and just some advice to give others, just in the role of entrepreneurship and just balancing the various roles that you do so well on a daily basis. Yes, man. So, Miss Foster, for people who may not know you, let's just start off from the top. Like, just where are you from?
I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina, born and raised.
Okay.
I was born and I stayed in the suburbs out near Mary Black Hospital in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Really just a Southern belle, a country girl.
Yes, ma'am.
I grew up with, farmland. My family grew their own fruit and vegetables. So, when we ate a hamburger, we thought that was something big because we never ate that. So just grew up with family. Family was everything that was my bearings.
Yeah.
That's where I got my grounding from just being around family, being united with family, and always being there. My grandmother was just a big part of my life, showing us how important family was, how important it was to work hard for what you want.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And one thing that just really stuck out about your upbringing, Miss Foster, is just how you say that, you and your family should grow your own food and just, sustain your well-being on your own. Like, how important is that, just learning that from a foundational standpoint, from a child point of view? Like, how important is that today as you being, as an adult?
It's very important. I always tell people, in my everyday work life, is I'm planting seeds right now for my grandchildren because I want them to have an opportunity to own their own. I instill in my grandson, he's 16 years old now, and if we call him on the phone right now, I can ask him just one question: what are you? And he always say, I'm above average, because anybody can be average. And I have instilled that in him from birth. So he goes by that. He's been working since he was 14 years old, still working on the same job for 2 years. So I instill having your own, working for your own, and working hard. Don't be afraid of hard work.
Yes, ma'am. Don't be afraid of hard work. And that's key, and that's vital to any level of success that anybody is trying to strive for. So that's a great key, Miss Foster. So as I said when I introduced you, like you're a mompreneur because you're a mother, you're a wife, but you're also a business owner. And I know you own several businesses here in South Carolina, in Spartanburg, in the upstate. Like, where did you get your first taste of entrepreneurship?
I can say when I was a child, I started selling candy.
Okay.
To my cousins. I would save my money and I would go buy big bags of candy, and I knew that they liked candy, so I marketed that. So I learned that from the beginning. And then my dad always was an entrepreneur. He owned his own car lot, he owned rental properties, he owned his own rollback. He used to pull in cars, so he was always grinding, and I never seen him not do some type of work, even when he was off work.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I got that from him. It was just instilled in me.
Yes, ma'am. From an early age, and like you say, from your father, and just from, like you say, you growing up around family, and you seen something that everybody wanted. What's that? Candy. Mm-hmm. That's an easy entryway to go, to go and make ways for yourself. That's great. That's great. So when you were watching your father, I know you said that one of the things that you learned, just from the beginnings of entrepreneurship is just always working, never stop, always grinding. Like, when you first started selling that candy at a young age, Miss Foster, what did you learn from that experience that you knew about yourself that you could take with you?
I learned that, being an entrepreneur, that I can always be in control of me. Be in control of my money. You know, I talk to my friends. I tell them all the time, you know, you can do anything that you want to do, but you got to put the work in, and you got to believe in yourself first. I always tell people, don't ever have anybody have you second guess yourself, because you know you better than anyone.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, with instilling entrepreneurship, we do it all the time, but we don't realize it.
That's key. That's key. That's a message. All right. So I've been doing my research, Ms. Foster. You know, I tell all my guests before they, you know, when they come on here, they really get surprised about, you know, about some of the things I ask, because I dive deep, and I just do that as a respect to the person that I'm actually having on the show and collaborating with, because, you know, I don't want to have anybody on here that I haven't did my part, like you say, hard work. So, I mean, I saw that you pledged Gamma Phi Delta. Like, why did you choose that sorority and that organization?
I like what Gamma Phi Delta stands for. It's business women, empowering women, and our biggest message is we go out into the community.
Yeah.
We see where the need is, and we go out. We just don't sit every year and have a conference. If we see somebody that needs food, we go to the shelters. We go to the soup kitchens. We go to the women's shelters.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, I love the women and what Gamma stands for. We are Gamma proud. We're unique. And we want to stand out as a helping hand, not just for a pretty face.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so just tell a little bit on the benefits that you've acquired since joining Gamma Phi Delta, and just some of the relationships that, you know, had the pleasure of earning.
I've been able to network with a lot of women in different professions. One of my soror sisters, we are very good friends. She's a doctor. You know, I've been able to, send her business. She's been able to send me business, and just networking and helping each other. One of the benefits is, just being out in the community, being a business owner. You are able to get your name out there. You are able to be a part of something positive.
Yeah.
They're seeing you in a positive light, because you always have to brand yourself. You always have to, when I'm walking in the community, I'm not only branding my business, I'm branding my husband, I'm branding my children, I'm branding my grandchildren. I always tell people I'm a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. And that's my number one business.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I'm branding them, I'm representing them. So I want them to be proud that I'm, their grandmother, their mother, his wife,
Yes, ma'am. And it just looked like, joining Gamma Phi Delta is just very resourceful. Like, you were able to garner multiple avenues of resources from a very diverse group of women. I mean, that's a benefit. That's just value that you can't really put a price on. Yes, ma'am. So for every episode, Ms. Foster, I always give an urban suggestion. It's our segment. And with the segment, it's always something that I like to give back to teach other people, to help them out in their lives, to make it better. Sometimes it's health segment, sometimes it's finance, sometimes it's about business. And for this episode, for you, I want you to collaborate with me.
Okay.
Like, how have you built confidence and resilience just over the course of your career and professional life?
Oh, wow. Just facing the bumps in the road and not letting them knock me down. Just being able to, along my career, even before, I was in the management, the leadership, starting off in sales, one of my good friends, they wasn't salespeople, but I poured into them. I wanted to help them. Resilience in corporate America for a Black woman, you have to have it. You have to have tough skin. You gotta walk with confidence. When you come in, you can never, ever, ever walk with your head down. Or because corporate America, as we know, it's a man's world, and most of the time Caucasian men.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you get a strong woman that can run with the best of the Caucasian men, you're gonna face that backlog. So just coming in and always being knowledgeable, always educating yourself, always being 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
Because I can't afford to be behind. I don't get that privilege.
Yeah.
So I always have to educate myself. I always have to be hustling. I always have to be pouring into the people around me to build the next level of the corporate America for African Americans.
Yeah, yes ma'am. Yes ma'am. And it just seemed like your beliefs, you just being headstrong, just like you said, the main key thing is just believing in yourself and knowing yourself first. That's awesome. So I know you touched on a little bit in the Urban Suggestion segment, just about your career path, like in your professional career as an executive member of management for like a highly successful sales team. Like, what led you to become, that career path? What led you to become so successful in that?
I can tell you the truth. When I first started my sales career, my children, I have 4 children, they were young. I needed a job. I didn't know anything about sales. But having that entrepreneur spirit in me, when I got there, I said, wow, I can control my own paycheck.
Yeah.
So I just poured in, and it goes back to educating, learning, just getting better at my craft. And then I knew that this is me. I like to do it. It's not the same thing every day. I meet new people. I get to pour into people. I get to be a servant leader. So that's how I chose the career path. Just taking a job to take care of my family. But when I got there, the connection with being an entrepreneur. Because when you're in sales, you're over your own business.
Yeah.
They're just renting a space like we're in right now for you to run your business.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it just sounded like you saw an avenue of opportunity.
Yes.
And you just took it and ran with it.
Yes.
You just took it and ran with it. And that's awesome. That's awesome. So, people may not know, but they may know. People may know that you own J&G Family Restaurant located right in Spartanburg. I think it's right off Henry Street, right?
Yes, 462 West Henry Street. That's in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's right across the street from Macedonia Baptist Church, right next door to Cellar Seafood Market in Spartanburg.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So how did, and you own it with your husband, right?
Yes.
Y'all both own and operate it. Why did you guys choose to go into the food industry?
Well, my husband has a background he was an executive chef with the hospital system and with a private dining room in Spartanburg. They wanted to put him on the road to travel. So he was kind of weary about that, because he's a family man. He wanted to be at home with his family, at night, during the week. So I was like, honey, you're doing this for them. I said, you go ahead and you start your own restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
So we started, this is actually our 3rd restaurant. We started our first restaurant, and we always have an inside joke with a pack of hamburger meat and some buns. And it was John's restaurant.
Okay.
Right there on Howard Street in Spartanburg. And that's when my children were still in school. So that was our first restaurant, and I just encouraged him and just supported him and poured into him to say, hey, you can do this. So that's how we got into the food business. But I do have a shoe store, Brand Marvelous Shoe Store. That's at 462 West Henry Street, Suite C. And I was inspired to open my shoe store because I always loved shoes.
Yes, ma'am.
And when my children were smaller, I used to say it all the time. My friends used to hear me say it. I said, I'm going to open me a shoe store. I'm going to open me a shoe store. So when my son passed away in 2005, he loved shoes and he loved to see me in shoes. And I kept saying, I'm going to open this shoe store in the name of my son. And my son was, his name was Brandon. And that's how I got Brand Marvelous, because I say Brandon was so marvelous to me.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's how I came up with that name. And I spoke that years ago, and I was able to do that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And me and my wife and my children, we actually had the opportunity to stop by the restaurant and tried some of your menu items, man, they were busting. I got to be honest, they do their thing down there, man. It really remind me, like I'm originally from Greenwood, Miss Foster, so it really reminded me of a restaurant on the east side of Greenwood called S&S, like the old S&S back in the day. And so it's just that down south, at home, good southern comfort food, soul food, and it's right in the heart of one of our urban areas here in the upstate South Carolina. And that's one thing that I actually love that you chose where your location at, to put it right at the show, you know, to give people an example of what can be done by somebody of our own complexion in our area and get back. So just as far as like, you know, the J&G family restaurant, how did you guys come up with the concept just for the restaurant culture and menu and just the, you know, the overall down south experience?
Well, we wanted to keep that down south, and we always say a family restaurant. I tell people that when you come there, you feel like you're at your grandmother's house. And the concept is you always treat your customers like gold. Because if they came to my restaurant, they passed 10 restaurants getting there.
Yeah.
So I want them to be able to experience the old customer service that we're used to down south.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know, my workers, my employees, I instill that in them. When they come, when I get a customers coming through the door, greet my customer. If they want to sit in here, you make sure that you're treating them like family. Yeah. And if you go on Google, you can see that concept because we have some great reviews.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's like over 500 reviews, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's at least 350.
Yes.
I be doing my research. I do my research. So when it comes to the, you know, the entrepreneur game, like people don't really, they see the end result, but they don't necessarily see like what you have to go through and all the organization, all the, you know, all the closed doors in your face and so on and so forth, the challenges. Like, can you describe or just explain any, like, what was your biggest obstacle when it came to just opening, you know, the J&G restaurant from the beginning or to how it is now?
Well, the thing, some of the stumbling blocks that is finding the right location and finding someone that you trust to lease a building from. Also, just getting the right employees there. You want to get people in that's not gonna stain your brand, not gonna steal from you, and that's gonna be dependable. You want somebody that's gonna show up when it's time to show up.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, facing that, but we have 2 great workers that's been working for us for the last 5 years, and they have been just such jewels to us. And they would do anything, and plus our children. You know, they come in where we need them. They come in and they just fit in because we've taught them from this small, learning how to run a business. Yes, so they can step in at any time and run the business.
Yes, man, that's awesome. And that's an awesome, you know, resource to have, you know, in your back pocket at all times. Just other people that's already trained and ready to go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Building that bench.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I do in corporate America.
Yes, ma'am. That's true. That's 100% true. All right, so we talk about the various roles. We done got you, you know, spoken about how you know, with your wife, being a mother. How do you balance these roles, Ms. Foster? Like, how do you balance just being a wife, a mother, a business professional in your career, a business owner? How do you juggle those?
Wow, just having a passion to succeed and being organized. Time management is key. Planning your day. You know, people always say, "Oh, I don't know how you do it." I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I work out an hour before I go to my corporate America job. In the evening, I come home. If I have something to do for the business, I pull out my laptop. I keep all the finances together. I pay all the sales tax. You know, just balancing our books. But when something is your own, you work harder for it.
Yes, ma'am.
And not only my business, but my job is my own. I don't work for corporate America. I work for Glenda Foster.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you say time management is key when it comes to just balancing those multiple hats that you juggle and wear on an everyday basis. When it comes to those roles, like, are there any fears that you face on a daily basis, or that you really?
The only fear that I face is I haven't done enough.
Okay.
I haven't poured into someone enough. I haven't went that extra mile for somebody, because when I say I'm a servant leader, not just to my employees, but to my family.
Yes, ma'am.
Have I done enough? You know, when you have grandchildren growing up in this day and time, especially for my grandson, you know, I get mad at him if he make a wrong decision, but then I have to reevaluate myself. Have I done it right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the only fear that I have.
And it's always like that when you're so passionate about about what it is that's been bestowed upon you to go out and just give to this world, to your family, and to just to the world as a whole. So for anybody that's starting out in this entrepreneur game, they start out their own business, no matter the industry, what piece of advice would you give them, Ms. Foster?
I would say, have your plan, work your plan, and don't let your plan work you. And always, believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself enough to start that business, to have that passion for it, no matter what anybody says, you keep going forward. Even if you get knocked down, you get up, you brush yourself off, and you continue. And get with someone who can support you, who can pour into you, who can be positive. Don't let someone pour negative thoughts into your positive dream.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So basically, just main thing, stay organized.
Yes.
Believe in yourself.
Yes.
And just keep the right people around you.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. For that positivity to keep you focused.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So we're getting close to the end of the episode, and it's been a great conversation. Ms. Foster, I really enjoyed you being here. But for the people at home in our urban community, and just the entire audience as a whole, what's one thing you love and one thing you would change about South Carolina and just our southern region as a whole?
What I love about South Carolina is the down home feel. Like I said from the beginning, I'm a family person. I love that I can walk on the street and I can speak to a stranger. I love that I can go in the store and I can talk to a stranger without fearing, being robbed or being followed. One thing that I would change about South Carolina is for the African American community is that we pour more into our youth. Working in corporate America, we have a different work base. We have a different group of people coming in. Just being able to have a place for them to be nurtured, a place for them to be groomed or mentored. I would love to see that for our African, especially our young ladies. I would love to pour into them. I would love to, mentor them. And I'm not saying that they're not being raised or not saying putting them down or anything, but when you walk into a corporate America building, representing it the right way,
yes, ma'am,
and being able to take those opportunities.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so it just sounds like you really love and enjoy the southern comfort of the South, and specifically South Carolina. And one thing you want to change is just looking out for the young people in the world.
Yes.
Have a little bit more understanding, a little bit more patience, and
Yes.
so they can be nurtured, so they can, see where they go. And that's one thing that I feel as well. Like our generation and generations definitely after me. Like I'm in my early 30s, but we got to feel like we got to trust somebody that's over us, or that's that's got the experiences that we never had. Once we build that trust, and I'm pretty sure you can speak to it yourself. You know what I mean? And, they take it and run with it.
Yes.
They loyal for life.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes, and that's what I would like to see in South Carolina. Just to know, to let this generation know that they matter and they can do it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, Miss Glenda, we at the end of this episode. How can people find you? How can they connect with you? I know you gave them the address of where your restaurant is located at, and where your fashion store is located as well. Let them know where you at, Miss Foster.
We're at 462 West Henry Street. That's in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We not only have the restaurant, we do caterings, we do birthdays, funerals. We do any kind of event. No event is too small or too big for us. The shoe store is right next door. It's a joint, so come in and get you some food, and come over and get you some fashion.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's right off of Henry Street in Spartanburg, South Carolina, real close to the Beacon.
Yes.
If you don't know where that's at, man. All right, so this has been an awesome episode of Urban Topic. We had just a grateful opportunity to have Miss Glenda Foster come and grace our platform today and just share her journey and experiences as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as a wife, as a business professional, like a highly successful one at that. We want to say thank you guys back home, and we out.